The end of an era often leaves behind many remnants of a bygone time. The end of French coal mining is one of the most visible ones in this part of France, leaving many traces across the landscape. We are covering a once massive system that connected multiple mines via underground tunnels, used for transporting coal and miners. We'll be exploring the remains of this once massive industry. We are starting our adventure at the central and oldest section of the mine. But we quickly found something that piqued our interest.
Hier, dit was voor de lampen.
The miners' headlamps were charged here on these large racks. From here, the miners would finalize their preparations before heading down. The tunnels that once accessed the shaft was sealed off, so we will focus on just this building. Exiting the charging area, we entered something quite different. It seemed we had entered a sort of recreational room, judging by the concrete standing tables. It's really something you don't see too often in old coal mines. There was also a mix of old architecture with seemingly more modern renovations overlaid. Continuing, we entered a beautiful hall. A massive skylight and many classic details made it quite a sight to behold. Since its construction in the early 1900s, this hall had been a starting point for all the coal miners preparing to enter the deep mines. An efficient basket system hoisted the clothes up to the roof. Today the basket system is gone, leaving only the racks behind. Like many mines, this one was established at the start of the Industrial Revolution, when the demand for coal skyrocketed. This demand created large modern industrial complexes, generating wealth and strong culture surrounding work in the mines. In 1938, the complex alone had an output of a staggering 2 million tons of coal per year. What was special to see was that this part was in direct contrast to the previous seen area. It was all original, probably since its construction, something you don't see every day. We noticed some graffitied numbers on the wall, which sometimes indicates preparations for demolition. Hopefully this won't be the case for this historic building. We continued further into the building. Most of it consisted of empty or trashed office blocks. But one was different. A control room, which was unexpected in this part of the building. The panels were labeled with other mines and sites. After the Second World War, many of the mines were in ruins. Modernizations began, creating many new pits and connecting other mines for a more streamlined production process. In the late 1940s, the mine grew so much that a new pit was dug just for maintenance and bringing in supplies. This pit is located just over 2 kilometers away, truly showing the size of this enormous system of tunnels. The tunnels at a depth of over 1 kilometer are today completely underwater. We made our way down the hill onto the terrain. A solar park now operates on the old storage terrain of the mine, so we had to be careful. Fresh looking tracks and new farming equipment led us to believe it was still in use, probably by a local farmer.
Zo. Holy shit zeg.
Leeft het?
Ja, nee, ik denk het niet.
Hij leeft niet, jongen.
Kom jij doen, jongen.
Ja, ik weet niet als hij er in één keer op staat, snap je?
Ja, het is gewoon hartstikke... Kijk maar. Het is gewoon half bevroren die. Kijk maar.
A truly incredible machine hall was located here, still intact with its contents. An old school Alstom hoisting machine, dating back to the late 1940s, was located here. These hoisted various materials down the mine for decades. It is now surrounded by bales of hay. Agriculture and industry have combined in this old machine hall. The style of the building is a typical product of the late modernist movement, featuring concrete, tall ceilings and large windows. After the post-war economic boom in the 1950s and early 60s, the demand slowed down a bit. But in the 1980s, this changed. The French government under François Mitterrand wanted to double the coal output in the area, allocating vast amounts of money to make this possible. During this time, output increased and new additions were made. These policies seemed very expensive and couldn't compete with foreign coal companies, leading to the cancellation of the plan in the late 1980s and the beginning of the sector's slow decline. Accessing the stairs, we entered a collection of control panels. In a sense, it felt as if this building hadn't seen any modernizations since its construction. Preserving its clean, modern design. In the back, another panel was located. In the early 2000s, after a slow decline, the large mining system came to an end. The closure marked the end of a piece of local history, and in a way, a culture. A culture surrounding the hard works in the mine, carried out over multiple generations. The future of these monuments of industrial heritage is unknown, but for now they continue to sit abandoned, reminding us of a bygone era.